Hi, welcome to Paranormal Kativity. I was tagged to do the Scariest Things Tag. Spooky Ghost Games on Instagram tagged me in doing this. Question number 1, your scariest real-life experience. I just had a video recently talking about some scary non-paranormal experiences, so I thought I'd just mention some other things so that way it gives you guys some new stuff about me. St. Patrick's Day, when I was in middle school, I decided I was gonna start a fitness kick and I was gonna go for a jog. I lived in the country. Most of the time my parents wouldn't even let me ride my bike outside of the driveway, so it was astounding that they were like, yeah, go for a jog, but I did. So I went down the street, turned, was going down the next street, and there's this giant Christmas tree farm, and then between there was just a big cornfield. Now since then it's developed and there's houses there, but at the time it was just flat. So I'm going by the Christmas tree farm, and this car is a light colored sedan, slow rolls me. I'm like, that's weird, because obviously I live in the middle of nowhere. And I see them go to the bottom of the hill past the Christmas tree farm and do a turn right in the middle of the road and head back my way. And I'm like, nope the F out of this. So I just run and I cut through the middle of the cornfield. And thankfully it's March, and with Indiana weather, it's it can be cold or hot any time of the year because it's ridiculous. So it was a comfortable temperature out, but there was no crops. So I went running through the empty field. The car just went around the corner and just was going so slow, and I was like, oh my god. And so I think I pulled out my CD player or whatever I had with me to listen to. Apparently he thought I had a phone, because at the time I did not, and he just drove on. He or she, I guess. But they just drove on, and then I just ran home and was like, no thanks to running for me. I've tried since then. Thankfully nobody's tried to kidnap me or anything, so that's good. Scariest paranormal experience, question 2. I racked my brain to think if there's a scarier instance than the one I mentioned in my Ouija board in my scariest paranormal experience video, but there's not. That was the scariest paranormal experience I've ever had. And in case you haven't seen that video and you're new to my channel, long story short, pull out a Ouija board. I'm like, hey, let's play. Oh, it doesn't work. That's weird. Why is it not working? Wait, now we're seeing ghosts, now we're having phantom sounds, now lights are flashing on and off, now we're basically being chased out of the house by an unseen force. But something funny that I didn't mention in that video is when we got to Myrtle Beach the day that we fled, it was before we met up with her friends that she didn't know where they were, so we were just touristing Myrtle Beach. There was a year-round haunted house that was on the strip, and we were like, yes, let's do this. So we pay our admission, we're going in, we get to the first hallway, and we both look at each other and we're like, too scared. Today's not the right day to be doing this. And so we find the exit and we exit, and then we're going down the hallways where the actors are, and they're looking at us like, are you okay? And we're like, yep, good, bye, have a good one. But yeah, we scared ourselves so bad that we couldn't even do a haunted house. And now I love haunted houses. I loved them then. But I was like, too much anxiety, can't do it. Number 3, have you ever known anyone convicted of a violent crime? Thankfully, no. I do have a fascination with serial killers, though. I don't know where this came from, but my whole life, anytime I found documentaries or information about serial killers or just crazy people in general, I'm fascinated by them. Although you really have to watch who you tell that to, because I know in a couple instances I said the phrase, I love serial killers, and people thought I was freaking nuts and that I like people who murder people, and I'm like, no, I didn't mean I want to encourage murderers. I just meant that they're fascinating to study, and it's terrible that they're crazy. Number 4, are you afraid of the dark? Absolutely. I've told you guys this before. I've really tried to challenge myself on it. I've slept in the dark a few times, but not dark. As the sun's going down, if I don't feel well and I take a nap, I don't turn anything on, so I wake up in the dark and I'm like, oh, this isn't so bad. Things like that. But my mind goes to hearing things and seeing things and making up things that aren't there, and I already see weird things that don't make sense sometimes as it is, so I'm like, I don't want to encourage that before I'm trying to sleep. It's just not a good thing. But I do want to eventually go on some ghost hunts. I know I talked to a local group here, and some of my friends are like, let's just do it on our own, and so I don't know exactly what's gonna happen with that when I have to get alone in the dark with other people, because I know Alex particularly likes to scare the crap out of me in the dark because he thinks it's funny. So I don't really know if I'm gonna be able to trust my intuition fully or if I'm gonna be like too nervous to really get stuff, but I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna try and see if I can break through that fear. Number 5, do we have any hometown legends? I would probably say every other bridge in my county seems to be Crybaby Bridge. The town south of here has Werewolf Hollow, and I'm planning on doing a video just about Werewolf Hollow. I really think that's about all of like the local legends though that we have here. Your favorite urban legend. I've always been a fan of the ones that are like, you're driving home and you see somebody who needs a ride and you give them a ride and then you take them to their house, but they leave their sweater, and so you go to the house and you're like, hey, you left your sweater, but they don't answer the door. Their parents do, and they're like, they've been dead for years, and then you go put it on their grave. Like, I like that story, but I've heard it in so many iterations and stuff, like, I have no idea of its origin, to be honest with you. I really do like the story of Crybaby Bridge, even though it's kind of like a rehash of La Lorna, or the crying lady in white, if you've heard that in other cultures and other towns. But basically, it's either you were in a car or a wagon off-roading or something. There's an accident, vehicular most of the time. Lady and a baby go off the bridge, they die, and so you'll either hear the baby crying or you'll hear the lady crying for her baby. It's just a cool story, I don't know. I think it's neat. Hopefully after I learn a little more about Werewolf Hollow, maybe that one will be one. Or maybe I'll find out more about like where I live or Indiana ones. So if you know any Midwesternish kind of urban legends, you should tell me about them. Number 7, last question. What is your scariest nightmare? I had this maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I had a dream Alex and our dog and myself were looking at a bed and breakfast with this older lady. And she was showing us around the room, and the dog started making this weird sound like he was like trying to growl but he couldn't. And they were both just conversing and doing their thing, and I'm looking at the dog and he's not acting right. And I get this weird feeling and I go, no, you are not allowed to do this. And they're both like, why are you yelling at the dog? He's just got something in his throat, like thinking I'm weird. And I get down in the dog's face and I'm like, you are not allowed to enter my dog. And then all of a sudden this like scratchy voice comes through the throat. And it's like, you are not taking this vessel from me. And I'm like, no, you are not taking my dog. And they're both like, what? And so like, basically I had to perform an exorcism on a demon trying to possess my dog in the dream. And I was just like screaming and cussing at this thing. It's telling me to get a proper vessel if I wanted to leave the dog alone. And I'm like, you are not getting anything from me. You don't deserve anything. And I'm like screaming, and I wake up shaking. I'm like, oh Lord. And so I went and told Alex the dream, and he was like, at least you're pretty bad at defending our dog. And I'm like, well, there's a plus. So that's probably the scariest dream that I've had in a long time. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you are interested in sharing your scariest things, please share them. You're tagged, you're it, do it next. Comment and tell me if you do it so I can come watch you do it, because that'd be really cool. I love getting interaction with you guys. So I will talk to you again very soon. Have an awesome one, and I love you all. Bye!